we wanted to answer the question, if nature wrote our research strategy, would we do the same research and would we do it in the same ways? The ability to acknowledge and explore other perspectives is an important capability for undertaking transdisciplinary research. This work takes it further by bringing the subject of lots of transdisciplinary research, namely the natural environment, into the room. Empathy was our starting point to be able to do this. We are a group of social and environmental researchers, and this work is based at Manaki Whenua Landcare Research, a Crown Research Institute in Aotearoa, New Zealand. Manaki Whenua is an environmentally focused institute looking at land, soil, water, biodiversity, biosecurity, and climate. To find out how nature's perspective would shape our strategy, we developed a new nature-based research strategy through a series of activities and compared it with the original strategy developed.
We invited the research leadership group of the Managing Land and Water portfolio at our research institute to take part in an experiment with the hypothesis that if nature wrote our research strategy, we would do different research or do research differently. The group comprised of 6 environmental research scientists. We briefly explained the proposed approach, that we would go to a remote lodge and that each person would participate in the activity as an element of nature. We invited each person to identify an element of nature they wanted to participate as. And in order to help people get into their headspace, we prepared a priming document with videos, poems, and photos all about elements of nature, along with a series of priming questions like what shapes you, how do you age, when do you begin?
In September of 2023, we all met at a lodge in a remote part of Aotearoa, New Zealand. We shared a meal and spent the night in shared bunk rooms. In the morning, we gathered, and after a karakia, a traditional Maori incantation to help create a safe space, our interpreters or facilitators set the scene. Each person was to spend the first 60 minutes outside with their element, trying to experience their element in multiple ways. We provided the participants with some guiding questions to use. The intention was that the participants would spend all day as their element, with regular excursions outside to reinforce that connection.
The next sessions were based around elemental relationships. We asked elements to recount how they'd first met other elements and describe their relationship.
We then asked them about health and harm, describing how they, as elements, know they are healthy and what harms them. Here's what Landscape described.
Subjected to many changes. I am obviously very large in extent in both space and time, but in a short period I've undergone significant changes through the acceleration of erosion, the clearing of land, the mining of various minerals, and the extensive engineering of rivers and floodplains and lowlands to create areas for intensive agriculture and for urban settlements. And I face the prospect under climate change of more extreme weather, of rain arriving in greater amounts and intensities than desired, thanks to water, but and ultimately it may be exacerbating the things I've just mentioned.
The last sessions were designed around developing a vision of what the elemental participants want for this world and what advice they would give humans for helping bring that vision into reality. And finally, what they as elements were prepared to gift to realize that vision and what they wanted to gain in return. So what did we find? The methods seemed effective at building up empathy as nature. We absolutely held open the real possibility that participating as nature would be too far for some or even most of our participants. But those involved really embraced the device and often spoke with real emotion as elements. If nature wrote our research strategy, would we do different research or research differently? And the answer was a clear yes. For example, the participants came up with a very different vision for the portfolio, all about balance and reciprocity.
we found a practical way to bring another perspective into the room. Literature highlights that building empathy for elements of nature that don't look like us can be hard to do. In this case, we relied not so much on people imagining, but actually experiencing nature and the elements having their influence. We found that enabling the capability of a research institution to see from the perspective of elements of nature drives a different research strategy. Not only that, it can help transcend disciplinary boundaries and remind people in environmental research of their why.